Welcome to the Mystic Millionaire podcast, where wealth is energy, success is a mindset, and abundance is your birthright. I am Danielle Amos, your host and mentor, here to help you unlock prosperity, embody confidence, and manifest a life you love. Take a breath, align with your truth, and let's manifest millions. She is a high-level wealth strategist and intuitive investor who retired at the age of 39 in order to teach others how to reach financial freedom through non-traditional ways. Her name is Elizabeth Ralph, and she is the founder of The Spiritual Investor and the host of the Spiritual Investor podcast. This is a place where entrepreneurs transform from unsure investors to effortless wealth creators. Formerly a financial executive and energy trader, Elizabeth shifted her focus entirely in 2012. She decided to go all in and set up a strategy to achieve financial freedom within just 10 years. Elizabeth has helped countless spiritual entrepreneurs to create their own strategies for financial freedom through the Spiritual Investor framework. Let's welcome her to the show. She's incredibly knowledgeable, especially around trading and creating that framework through trading energetically and using intuition. It's fascinating to hear her story that she decided to leave a super cushy job in order to go out on her own. It didn't make a whole lot of sense, but she did it anyway. Join me as she shares her story to inspire you how to move from that comfy place into what you truly are here to do. Thank you for listening. Welcome, Elizabeth, to the Mystic Millionaire podcast. I'm so grateful to have you in the studio. We've been introduced by a mutual friend and we got connected last night. And it really feels like I'm speaking to someone that I've known for a long time. We've got a lot of similarities. And you shared your wisdom with me personally last night, and it really resonated. So I'm grateful that you're here. It's an honor. We'll talk about our careers, and I'm sure that we were just talking offline, that I'm sure that this is going to go another way as well. And thank you in advance for your wisdom, your vulnerability, and the gift of your presence for our audience.
Thank you. Thank you.
So before we dive in, please share a little bit about you and your story. And you're an expert in wealth, and we're going to talk about money. So what got you here? Because I know you had a whole other career.
Yeah, I was a whole different person at one time.
Okay.
I think that's what's great about this is we get to transform into a new person, So I worked on a trading floor for 11 years, trading oil and natural gas and electricity. And I lived inside a spreadsheet. Right. And it was great. We work our way up to those jobs. But I realized kind of partway through, I was like, I don't want to be doing this for the rest of my life, but I didn't want to go down to this zero income. Like I had done the backpacking thing in Europe with no money. I was not interested in that. Right. Like, now, how do I keep my lifestyle and then actually transition out of this? And I really didn't even know what I wanted to do. I just knew I had this feeling that there was a part of me that every day I went into the office, there was like this tiny little part of me that was dying, like the real me.
Yeah.
And I ended up seeing this guy who, he had originally hired me, but he wasn't my boss anymore. And have you had those moments where it's like in slow motion, like you're watching a movie?
Yes.
And you know that like you're supposed to be shown that? Well, he got up from his chair and he walked over to the printer and he looked so old and just so sad. And, he's a nice guy. And I thought, oh my God, that is me later. So it was definitely a moment where I was like, okay, it's time to put this in motion. And after that, I put plans in place to buy my way out of it. And so, I think everyone should define their own definition of financial freedom. I think even the whole, like we talk about retirement, which is like a certain age, like Nobody wants to be sitting in the rocking chair at 65 doing nothing, right? So it's like all of these old paradigms with money don't fit, you know?
Totally.
And so I've always been the one who, I'm a financial person, but I've always been willing to keep the foundational principles, like the knowledge base, but throw out these rules that don't fit anymore. And one of them is, what does financial freedom mean? And so I said, to me, and this is like for anyone listening to this, like the way I figured it out was, what feels at ease to me and at the same time gives me the power to, from a neutral standpoint, step into my next stage of life.
I like that, from a neutral standpoint.
From a neutral standpoint, yeah. And for me, it was covering my cost of living with investments. I didn't want to leave the job and then have to worry about paying a mortgage or anything like that. And then I wanted to cover my long-term retirement. So I did those by 39, and then I left, and then I wasn't really sure. I mean, I thought I was just going to write because I love to write. I was married at the time, and so my wife and I, we bought a horse ranch, and we kind of started helping rescue horses and training horses and doing all that. And so then as the new stage of my life began, you know? And that's when I started the Spiritual Investor, only because someone asked me to help them with their money.
You mentioned that you bought your way out. What does that mean?
It means that, so I looked at what my cost of living was monthly. Then I said, what do my investments need to be in order to fully cover that?
Got it.
And so I just matched those two. So it would be like, what does it cost? You know, and I didn't do this, like, I didn't include travel and all of that stuff because at the time my wife was still working. So it was like she would kind of fill in the gap with that. But it was like, what did I need to pay the bills and the groceries and cars and all of that kind of stuff?
And still then invest for your
And
later
still
life.
invest. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So then you had your amount. So for those that are listening, they can figure that out. So
Yeah.
what is my cost?
Yep.
How much do I want to be investing for later? And if you don't know that, then they can speak to a financial advisor, right, to create a plan.
They
And so
can,
then,
yeah.
And then they add those two things.
Yep. And then
then
you add
that's-
those two things. Yeah.
And then that's how much they need per month to buy themselves out. And did you give yourself a like time, or is it like?
I figured it would take me 10 years. It took me 8.
Okay.
I actually think, though, what I understand now and what I teach people now is that you don't actually need as much time as you think because there's a disconnect between time and money. Like if you say it's going to take you 10 years, it probably will, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Say that again. The
if you-
disconnect. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's not a relationship between time and money except for what we say.
Yes.
So what we like to do is we like to say it's going to take us, say, 3 years to make $1 million. When, okay, then that's how long it's going to take you.
I love that.
You know?
That's
So
really important.
it is really
It's-
important.
and for our listeners, we often say I get what I believe.
Yeah.
So if I believe it's 3 years, that's what I'm
Yeah.
going to get. And yeah.
So that's kind of one of the things like that I would teach someone that I did that I wouldn't have them do now. Because now I'm like, okay, how long will it really energetically take you? How long do you really want it to take you? Because sometimes people do want it to take them a year. And that's okay, but just be real with that. And don't start to feel like a failure if you're sort of getting into that, because what's happening is you're just using time against you, right? Like time is one of the biggest money blocks out there.
Agreed.
And we all do it to a certain degree. It's like we use time as our excuse to not be who we are, when really, if we can visualize it and feel it, we already are that person.
Yeah, completely. That's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And time, I mean, this is a whole other conversation, but time doesn't exist, right? And we can just go to that space, that energetic space where we are feeling that way and collapse the time.
Exactly. I was going to say,
Yeah.
we are collapsing time to a certain degree with these spiritual practices and things that you're talking about, but we just don't do it on a global level in our lives. I think we haven't really brought that down into like the way that we live life every day.
Yeah. Most people haven't, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not even like in the awareness that you can do that.
Yes.
Say, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you bought yourself out
Yeah.
by doing that math.
Yes. And it was about $10,000 a month at the time.
Okay.
I didn't have a mortgage and all of that. So it really wasn't that big of a deal. What you do have to do, though, is you have to configure your investments where it depends on when you want to do it, right? You have to configure your investments to be, do you want more of the cash to be immediate or do you want more of the cash to be down the road, right? So, then that would be the configuration. What are you going to use for it? I used real estate for more of the short-term stuff. So I bought quite a bit of real estate in San Diego. And then my wife and I were fixing things up. I also had the stark advantage that I was in a really incredible relationship at the time where we had a team dynamic. It was really powerful where I went to work and sort of got these big six-figure bonuses. And then she would do a lot of the remodels and all of that, And so it really was a 50-50 kind of thing. And we both enjoyed it. And so we weren't departing. I think this is important too. We weren't departing from our love and the things that we wanted to do in life. Like that is the journey that we would have wanted to take, she and I both, whether it was about the money or not. Really, the best plan is the one that already goes in parallel with what you want to do. And then you're looking for the leverage points between, And she was very supportive of me transitioning out in that way. And like I said, I didn't even know what I was going to do. And now here I am 7 years later with the spiritual investor.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, clearly you've been guided and you,
I think so.
Noticed how you can help other people and how it changed your life. And our own medicine is often for others. Well, it's always for others, right? And we've got to be the example. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think sometimes also we don't realize that the world around us and even the things that we've done up to this point, I think you and I talked about this last night. It's like, if you really look, it's kind of been the perfect setup.
Yeah.
For where you are
now.
you
couldn't write it any better.
Yeah, I always say, I'm like, you can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
Just even a random thing. I was able to save for my long-term retirement double time because I happened to get hired under this window when I worked in corporate where they did 100% matching. So if I put in 20,000, they put in 20,000, right? So that's almost not even in existence. You don't even hear of that anymore, right? And I had the strength to walk away from a position that was very high up, very well paying, that I had really worked towards. So I had the wherewithal, if you will, to ignore the noise around me, mainly my family screaming, "What the hell are you doing?
Yeah. Are you crazy?
Are you crazy?" Looking out on the ocean all day from, this in San Diego and with a job that I actually loved. I just knew it wasn't me, And I was more connected to the real me than I was the me that could have kept going there and kept being in the play. Because that's what it started to feel like. I was almost acting in a play.
And it was that moment when you saw your old boss walking to the photocopier and seeing his state and how he was being. Yeah, that's powerful. That takes a lot of awareness to recognize that idea.
Yeah.
And then bring it back and project it back for yourself and say, wait a minute, this isn't me. It's huge.
It does. I went through a shifting moment as a child, a really opening moment when I was not. And I feel like because of that, it's almost like I had these moments in life where I kind of have repeated that, right? My mom, I remember because my mom ended up leaving and marrying someone else. She and my dad got divorced. And I remember asking her, I was like, because she would leave, and I'd wake up and she'd be gone. And I didn't know when she was going to come back. And I asked her, I said, when are you going to stay home with me? And I was so glad that she told me the truth. And my mom is wonderful. And we have a great relationship now. She was doing the best she could, right? And she said, when I get married again. And so in that moment, I was like, it felt very neutral. I was like, oh, well, I need to make decisions on my own. Because my dad isn't. And my mom. So it was so then I started staying with other family members and things like that. So it was a shift. It was like someone turns a dial, And I think we all have these moments. It's just are we willing to actually, in that moment, step into the new version of ourselves from a place of neutrality and literally leave the old version behind.
Not easy to do.
We have to not say if it's easy or hard.
Yeah,
The moment we get into, what does it feel like for me to do it? What am I leaving behind? What am I not? It's exactly what we're talking about before this podcast with surrender.
Yeah.
It's just, for me, it's kind of a flip side of surrender. For me, it feels more like, oh, this is just the way it is. And like, if I'm really here to be a powerhouse on earth and to be in service, then I have to be able to let the world around me completely drop in moments and just be like, this is what is. And I did that at 9, and I did it again at 23 when I realized I was being my father. I was like literally becoming my father. And I think I did it again in that moment when I was at corporate. And I can feel that I just did it again a few weeks ago. And I think it's no accident that I'm now here talking about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said it's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is. Like,
the evolution,
yeah,
the decision to, it's like embody a next level and let the old you behind, let go. Yeah.
You know what it feels like? It feels like this chair is white. This chair is white. And then my thoughts go somewhere else. And then I come back and this chair is white. It's the embodiment of the new version isn't because the new version fits better. It's because there's something inside us that is like, pick up your attention, Elizabeth, and put it over here. And I think men do this quite well. We talked a little bit about this before the podcast as well. Like, I will say sometimes it's like, it's the ability to just, and people can do this from an emotional sidestepping too. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking from a place of neutrality. And this is exactly what, if you can apply this to your money, then whatever you're trying to create with your money isn't entangled and influenced by all the things you need to do with your money, or all the regrets that you had, or all the versions of you that you haven't been and you somehow have been convinced you are.
Yeah, it's good. I like how easy it can be and how it really is a decision as well.
It's a decision, and but you know what it feels like? It feels like the beginning of it is a decision, and then the thinking mind goes away. And then it feels more like it's just a full power.
Yeah.
And it's just a version of coming back to the now. I feel like it's a 3D version of coming back to the now. It's a tangible version. Because a lot of times when you say come back to the now, people are like, okay, well, great, I do that in meditation.
Right.
But it's the exact same principle when, let's say you go into a room and you're like, let's say you want to share with people like what your products are or something like that, right? Can you just be in connection with those people? Or can you just be in connection with what your product means to you? Because that's the energy you're projecting and that's what you want to project. But a lot of people are in projection with what they need to say, what they should say, the time, all this stuff, right?
That's good. You talked about money being a relationship. All right, it's like we have relationships in our lives and money is one of them.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I'll just use myself as the example. I think people sometimes think that, because I'm doing this and because I became a multimillionaire at 39, that I suddenly have all the answers, but I don't. Like, I have money stuff too. Like, what this is that we're all going to a different level with it, and we're all unblocking and going to, it's just a game. We're going on different frequencies, right? And so one of the things that I'm working on with money, and by the way, one of the ways, like a hack that I do to see my own blocks, because that's like, it's very difficult to see your own blocks, right? What I do is I just do something different, and then I see how I feel about it.
Okay.
I don't go, like, for example, I have a tendency to not be as detailed about my money. I've in the past prioritized moving bigger blocks of money around. Like I'll pay more attention if I'm moving 250,000. And then over here, I'm not paying attention to maybe like the subscriptions that I have that I've had going for 3 years that I've never looked at now. But I understand the principle of money, that money is energy. So what I've done is I have, and this is okay. I'm not coming down on myself. I'm noticing.
Observing, like interested.
I'm interested. I'm curious. I have been, I don't want to say dishonoring, but I haven't been tapping into the energy of money as powerfully as I could. Because over here, I've sort of been like, well, whatever. Well, that's exactly how I was when I was in my marriage. Like, she was the detailed one. And that was the team dynamic. I was sort of like guiding the big ship, and then she was taking care of everything in our life. Well, then what happened is when I got divorced, I was a little pissed off that nobody was taking care of all the details that I didn't want to take care of anymore. I'm like, damn it. So then I didn't realize that I was in complete resistance on that. So then I started avoiding all the stuff. And then my life started breaking in all of these ways. And then, but the thing is, and I'm really fortunate for this, because instead of going to the circumstances, like this person did this and this is what's happening, I was like, no, what am I doing here?
Yes.
I'm full acknowledgement I create my world. And I'm like, oh, good job avoiding that.
Yeah.
Good job avoiding that. Like, it's like the cat that like walks across the table and it's going to like tip the drink over and you just watch it happen.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, here we go. Like, I've been doing that for 2 years, right? Finally, my director of operations, she's like, why do you not have a personal assistant? I'm like, and I realized in that moment, I was like, because I'm self-torturing I'm torturing myself, and I didn't realize it. And then this is like right before I went to Tasmania. So this is just recent. I hired a personal assistant and I realized that I was doing no good. Like, it's great. It's not that I'm actually more in the details, because now I'm with her in the details.
She brings it.
She brings it to me, and then I'm enjoying it. So what if I needed a little bit of a team dynamic to be in the details?
Yeah. It's a support.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that there's a combination of sometimes self-torture and sometimes, and I think this is really prevalent really with women when it comes to money, is not giving ourselves permission. Who cares if you buy a share of Amazon and it goes down $10? Who cares? You've just dropped that amount on dinner and you didn't even like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yet we think it is so monumental and it means something about us if we start investing and then we don't know what we're doing. When in reality, I give you, like, most of the people who started investing, they didn't know what they were doing. They were figuring it out. And anybody right now who could go back 10 years, even 3 years, and invest, like if I said to anyone, would you invest $10,000 in the market 3 years ago and not know what you're doing? They would say yes, because the market went up. We had 2 years of 20% gains. Not every stock, but you would really have had to screw it up to not make money in the market the last few years.
Couple of years, yeah.
Yeah. So I encourage people to get out of this trying to time the market. Get out of this, oh my God, there's so much fear out there. It's not a good time, because I have helped thousands of people with money now, and I can tell you it's the same conversation. The market goes up and they've missed the boat. The market goes down and suddenly it's going to hell in a handbasket. Every time.
That means
there's never a point to move forward.
Except for now.
Except for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah. How specifically do you work with women and encourage them to take their power back with money?
On an ongoing basis, really. I used to have a program and I've switched into a membership, because I do money practices with people.
Okay.
Because there is a factor of letting go, and that's just the reality of it, because we rubber band back to the old version. So it's like bringing people back to that new version until that becomes normalized.
Yeah, I often say it's like Karate Kid, wax on, wax off, wax on,
Yes.
wax off. Your new way of being,
Yes.
practice, be consciously making the decision to be that version of you until it's habitual.
Exactly. And I also recognize that people are at different stages in their journey. So, I have a $17, that's kind of a low commitment. You come in, you get a stock, You can be in the energy of money. I do hot seat coaching. That's, it's a no-brainer for somebody, right?
Yeah.
Or I have an advanced level where it's just like, okay, let's design your whole portfolio. You really learn more about the economy and the market and how to really choose your own stocks. And that's around $200 a month. Still not something that's completely, outside of people. And then I have a mastermind if you want to work directly. And so I would say neither is it really. I think it's better to just let people choose kind of what they want to do in the mastermind. Like, I'm there with you. I'm guiding you on how to do it. We're also bringing in AI in this next round of the how to use AI to do a lot of the heavy lifting and the research with your portfolio.
Wow.
And then you, as an investor, I'm teaching you how to bring your own intuition and your creativity. Because I say that's probably one of the signature things is that you've got to be creative with money.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people are really talking about that.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Well, it's like we're living in, especially people listening to this podcast and people listening to in this world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're playing with all these concepts around energy, and we're feeling that, and we're seeing how amazing it's making our life and how much better we're feeling. But yet we don't know how to bring that to our money. Like, we see money still as this black and white, male dominated, I don't know how, it's difficult, I'm going to screw it up kind of world over here. And a lot of people get stuck in, I need to make more money before I invest. Like,
Right.
there's all these reasons that they're not doing it, when really you can buy great stocks right now for less than $50,
Yeah.
So it's the momentum that's created from investing, and the way you feel about yourself is where I'm trying to get people to. I'm trying to get them away from you need to be perfect about it. You need to actually know how to do this, and once I can do that, then they can sort of open up the magic in other areas, and then they can bring their own creativity into it, right? Like, I was creative with money even when I was on the financial floor, right? I said, buy my way out of it. No one else was doing that.
Yeah,
They
that's
were
why
buying bigger homes in Coronado.
That's why I had to ask you what that even meant.
It was just being creative with money. And it's a function of confidence and knowledge. You do need to know something about money. You don't need to go out there and just like throw darts at the wall. I think the worst thing that people can do is don't buy the top 4 stocks that you see like being filtered to you on Robinhood, or that you see like everybody else buying. Because typically those are in the news and those are overbought. Those are probably at a higher price point anyways. Like, don't follow the herd.
Yeah.
Because like the people who are listening to this, they don't follow the herd anywhere else in their
Yeah.
life. Like, they're the leaders.
Yes. Yeah. And I was always taught if the herd's going that way, you go that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
So really effectively, what I'm asking people to do is just be a leader with your money. And I think people do fundamentally know how to do that, but that requires permission and creativity.
Yeah. Giving people permission that they can be the leader with their money, like you said, and that they don't have to be perfect about it.
Yeah, and redefine what messing up means. Are you really going to be put out on the street if you invest $1,000 in the market and it goes down to 800? Because the probability is, if you look at the history of the stock market for the last 100 years, the probability is that $1,000 is going to be 1,111, because that's just historic returns. And if you would just put it in there, and this is another aspect to it, you're also getting the money out of your frequency. Like,
but when you invest it, it's out of your frequency.
If you allow it, if you don't go in there and check it every day.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And superimpose yourself on it, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what we do. We're talking about relationships, right? Like, we're trying to configure, I need this to look like this. I need to look like this.
And if you're checking it every day, you're not trusting it. Like, if you really trusted that it's 100 or 1,111, you wouldn't need to check it every single day at where it was at. You would just come from the energy of that's where it is.
Yes, you can check it every day if you are at a level with your money, and this is where the practices come in. If you're at the level with your money that you are checking it from a neutral point of view. But very few people operate in money neutrality. That's really where you're trying. That's the greatest opening to money, is money neutrality.
And what does money neutrality feel like, or how does someone know that they're in money neutrality?
It feels exactly like that power that I described earlier, where it's just like, for me, I can feel it all throughout my body as just one solid stream. Money neutrality is when you know within every cell of your being that the energy that you are calling through is translated to money. Because all we really have is energetic currency, and we're choosing what form of abundance we want that to be. A lot of people say, okay, well, I have a beautiful family, I have my health, I have all the money I need, blah, blah, blah. Yes, you are leading an abundant life. And if you're fine with that, then be okay with that. That's what is. Be in neutrality with that. This is white. Be okay with that. But if you're wanting something else, then know that it's you who is not choosing to translate that energetic currency into that form of abundance. You have chosen, like, you can envision $1 million, but you don't know how to choose it yet, because we can only choose from the present moment. We can only choose from the now. That's the only place we have any power.
Yeah. So how do you choose it?
A little bit of what we talked about with an embodiment, a little bit of what we talked about with the what is. And it's when you say choose it, this is where I think people get tripped up too, because you don't choose it once. You have to be willing to choose it over and over again. And you have to choose it even when you look at your bank account and it's not where you want it to be. You have to choose it when you didn't have enough sleep. You have to choose it when your husband walks in the room and has his lack money vibes or whatever, You have to choose it over and over, and it has to be from that neutral place. But because money is not connected to time, you don't have to do it for an extended period of time. It's a function of the power. So the time collapses as a function of the power you're bringing to it.
Yeah, the amount of focus. Would you say that's the power?
You could call it focus, but focus is a 3D concept. Focus is something from the mind. We don't feel focus when we're focused. We feel power when we are in our power.
Yeah, that's good.
Like when I am looking at you in your eyes, I can feel my connection with you. That is power. That's beyond us.
Yeah.
If I'm focused, then I'm looking at the orange thing over there.
Got it.
You know the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for me, one is the will, like the focus because of your will muscle. So
Yes.
using that muscle to focus, and the other being in the power it involves so many of your other senses, your presence, your being. Does that make sense?
It does. Being in the now doesn't require you to do anything. So focus requires me to look. Connection and being in the now requires nothing. In fact, as soon as you bring something into it, you've diminished the power of it, right?
Yeah.
And so the way that I incorporate this into my life is I manage my energy around it.
Okay.
So what I'm doing is I'm simply increasing my responsibility to manage my energy and the rest of my life so that I can show up in my full power for the moments that I've chosen.
Got it. Good.
Yeah.
How would you coach someone to change their relationship with money?
Start looking at your other relationships in your life, just like I gave the example, right? Because what you're doing in your relationships is exactly what you're doing with money. Like
the avoidance like you were talking about with the little details.
The avoidance of that, or also like we treat people a certain way. We fall into these roles and we treat them, like most people are treating money like shit. Like, I don't really want to look at you. I actually don't really want you to even be part of my identity because I'm not about money.
Yeah.
Right. And
There's shame,
especially when you get the
there's-
spirituality thing going in there, which can be a detraction for people. Right. I'm not about money. Money is evil. Money's great. All this stuff. Right. So people treat money like shit. And then they expect money to show up for them when they need money. Then they want to fly first class to Australia and money's not there. Money's like, bitch, you're sitting in coach, right?
Yeah.
And you're like,
You've been ignoring me. You've been like not honoring me for the past.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like that. I like thinking about
Yeah.
the relationship. So is there a way to, instead of treating money like shit, I know the obvious is like really respect money and I think this comes from there's a book that I was reading. It was an experiment that I became present to last month, actually. It was about treating money like your lover, like it was your lover. And I thought giving it that identity, and it comes back to this relationship. So what would that look like? Like, and the experiment was to journal about it and then actually apply that. So live like that for a day.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the things like I love that people have different ways of approaching and teaching money, because I think that the way one person says it or offers it or whatever, like if that resonates with you. I mean, I think that we're all lining up with the people that we're supposed to be with anyways, right? And so that concept, if that feels good for someone, I would say go vertical with it, take that on, right? I know I had someone in my mastermind and she had 4 younger children, and she was just like, she's a light worker. She's just in Hawaii. She's just a pure soul. And I could see in her that she had such mom vibes, such nurturing mom energy. And I could tell that she wasn't really sort of like grasping on to maybe like the way other people were talking about money or even the way I was explaining it. And so I sort of reframed it into a little bit more of the mom vibe. Well, that somehow hit with her to the point where she made such a switch that she ended up being kind of like teaching the other people in the group,
Love that.
teaching people in her community. She started investing with her her kids who were like 10 and 12. They now have investing accounts.
Amazing.
Changing the culture in her family. It was monumental what she was able to do because she really took that, she really took that to heart. I would say the way that I would look at things, and because I'm always coming at it from money neutrality, kind of like, give me the big guns, just because money neutrality is ultimately kind of what we're navigating. We're navigating towards neutrality, which is oneness anyways in all areas of our life, right? It's a form of that, is to look at where the neediness is coming up in your relationships and look at where the neediness is coming up in your relationship with your money, because you can't actually get money. You can only receive money. And if you're in need, then you're always in a state of getting.
How instead of needing it, desiring it, not want, but using the word desire and having money come through because of those desires. So if I'm right, like having something to, like a reason,
Yes.
but not from need, like not a
Right.
lack energy.
Like a why. Yeah, exactly. And you can create, I think that's the way we're designed, is to go out there and say what we want, right? But saying what we want and then surrendering and leaving it is one thing. Saying what we want and needing it. And so, like, desire for me sometimes carries a need, and that's probably just because of the way that I look at life. Desire for some people doesn't carry a need.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful, wonderful, magical thing. So
Understanding how that feels in the body. And
exactly. Like, what is your relationship to that word, to that emotion, which is then causing that decision? And knowing that everybody's relationship is going to be different, and be willing to look at what your relationship is when you hear me say a money concept, or anybody really.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm excited to look into the programs that you have, and what a great resource. And I love that you have for people different levels to engage with you and have your support.
Yeah.
My thought as I was listening to your background, like, of course she like loves money because of how you were trading on the floor and that you're such a great expert. I love that like, of course you're doing what you're doing. It's amazing. Amazing.
Thank you. To be honest, like money's always felt easy, even as a kid. It's felt easy. And so I think a lot of us are just out here doing what feels easy. Sometimes relationships have been a sticking point for me, and so money feels easy, and I'm teaching it. And I think some people are out there teaching relationships, and, I know that you and money, I know there's a certain ease with you and money and the way that you teach it, and you are empowering women around money and to believe in themselves. And the way you say it is resonating at such a deep level with people that it's like finding that connection in that person that feels priceless.
Yeah. Good. And we should be paid well for what comes easy to us. So I love that you said that.
Yeah, we are when we don't block it.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people are like, okay, you know, I want to get paid what I'm worth. Well, you're deciding what you're worth. So you are getting paid what you're worth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every time I hear that, I'm like, but that's already happening.
That's happening. Or else it wouldn't be what you're being paid. Yeah.
Yes.
It wouldn't be what is. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Elizabeth, thank you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with our community.
Yeah.
I look forward to more of this and getting to
know.
know you better. And
Yeah.
thank you. Any last words of wisdom for all the millionaires in the making that are listening?
I would say listen to more of you, because I think that you carry a different frequency. You know, I felt that. I learned from you. I think be willing to see that money is not static. It's dynamic. Because the moment that you see it as static, then you have locked yourself into the frequency where you are now, which if you're not in neutrality is not the frequency you want to be on.
Love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I've got 3 questions for you. Are you ready?
Yep. Right.
Okay. First one I think you'll love.
Yeah.
Abundance in one word. Go.
Freedom.
Love it. The second is millionaire mindset.
Yeah.
Or billionaire mindset, let's say. What is one guilt-free indulgence that you allow yourself to keep you in the frequency of money?
Beautiful hotels.
Yeah. Love that. I can resonate with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful spaces. I love.
Yeah. It's interesting because even here, I booked a different one. And I knew when I booked it, I was like, that's not the right one. And then I got here and I was like, nope. And then I was like, okay, it's too late to cancel it, but I can't.
And did you move?
Yeah, I moved.
And you just let the other one, even though you paid for it?
Well, yeah. I went to the front desk and they're like, well, they were only going to charge me for part of it. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, it's
I've done
not
that
worth
before.
it. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
I can't. It's the environment thing, you know?
And when you know it, that you can be there and it's just clamping and then you're not in neutrality.
Then you're not in neutrality.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly right. I'm so glad you brought this up,
Yeah.
because we don't realize the cost of not being in neutrality.
Yeah. And so much logic can come from money, like based on how we were programmed. Like, that's such a waste. I can't believe you wasted that room. Like, you couldn't get like, that's my little voice in my head. Like, I can't believe you're going to do that and let that go when you made that reservation.
Yeah.
That's so irresponsible of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so letting that go and say, no, my vibration, my feeling is worth more than the cost of losing that 500,000, whatever it is that we lost.
Yeah. Yeah. And so yeah, to give an example. So as soon as I walked out of the lobby of that hotel, I had to wait because they already had my car in valet. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I'm taking my attention from the money and I'm putting it over here. It doesn't come into my mind. Like, it doesn't get access to me anymore. I'm done. The chair is white.
Yeah.
I'm back in neutrality, right? That's what the practices do. That's what and part of the practice is actually going out there in action, right? It's not just sitting there with a visualization. I mean, all of that's great, but like, you've got to, I bring the worlds together. You've got to use the energy, but then you've got to go out there and put it into action, mess up, not be hard on yourself, succeed. Also, not pat yourself on the back too much too. Like, so many people, they're like, okay, they invest in the market and then it kind of automatically goes up 20%. And then I'm like, you're not a financial wizard.
Yeah. It's just like what it's doing. Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of what it's doing.
Yeah.
You don't get one side or the other, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Okay, third question.
Yeah.
You have one book, Elizabeth, that you can read for the rest of your life. Only one. What is it?
A New Earth.
A New
Eckhart
Earth.
Tolle.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, it's a different book every time. If I had to read it forever, then that's...
Yeah. Well, you're a different person every time you read it. So it appears different. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah. You see what wasn't there before, but not because it wasn't there, but because
That's exactly
you
right.
changed. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that because that's something that I've been like working on within myself. And we talked about this last night, which is like what's really sort of, I always say, causing an acceleration factor in my life towards what I want is being more interested in meeting the person who has done the thing than figuring out what I need to do the thing.
Love that. That's mentorship, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for gifting us with your presence.
You're welcome. Thank you.